My favorite tattoo on myself is this full sleeve. It was done by the same artist over a span of a few years. It's a Japanese oriental piece with sakuras and a phoenix.
It was my grandma's favorite bird. She was like the closest family member I had. This artist was one of the artists that inspired me to get into tattooing in the first place. I'm Pei.
I'm Alison.
And we're both tattoo apprentices. We met here in Vagabond.
I came in first, but I was a part-time apprentice. I've been apprenticing for 5 months.
Since July, so about there. I majored in psychology in NUS, and right after that I went into teaching.
So I majored in chemistry and biological chem. I worked at several gyms after I graduated from NTU.
I already had tattoos, but I just appreciated it as like a form of art. After teaching for a few years, I decided that wasn't what I wanted. And at the same time, I actually had a side hobby of doing my own drawing. There are some people who actually told me hey, I actually want your stuff tattooed on me. So that was when I thought since I already like drawing so much and doing art, why not let's just take the plunge and try something totally new. It was a really big plunge for me, but I thought let's just do it.
It was a big risk, but I enjoyed drawing since I was a kid, so it seems more natural for me to take the plunge into the arts. I told my mom first because I'm closer to her. She was trying to convince me to maybe put it off for a while, wait 2 years and see if I still want to do it. As for my dad, we hid it from him for quite some time. Yeah, so he didn't know that I was doing this. I had to actually write a letter to him to let him know about it. Right now, I feel that they are okay with it because there was a day that my parents were eating near the studio and my mom brought my dad to the studio to see me. He didn't say anything, but I felt that it was a form of acceptance on his part to come down to see my workplace. So that to me is quite comforting for me. Yeah.
The apprenticeship, it's unpaid, so you don't earn any income at all because you're coming into a studio that's already running perfectly well on their own and you want to learn something from people. So I guess the very basic thing you have to learn is cleaning, because as a tattoo studio we have to be really clean. It's we're dealing with needles and blood all the time. You don't want people to get infected with anything weird.
It's helpful that if you have a bit of a background in art, it doesn't mean that you have to go to art school, but you need to be able to draw because tattoo artists are just artists.
At the beginning, we actually traced lines, circles, stars, trying to make our hands steady. So trying to join the circles perfectly, trying to do the perfect line. It might seem mundane to some people, but to me personally, it was actually quite fun. I enjoyed drawing the circles and lines. It's quite therapeutic. And these kind of things, when you actually start tattooing, I feel it's really important. You see how simple things like just tracing lines and circles actually is so important. I guess to me, the fun part of the apprenticeship is I really like the people here. In this studio, everyone is really fun. While there are lots of serious times, of course, but when we do our things, the people here are very encouraging. They would motivate us a lot.
Yeah, same here, the people, and I guess tattooing itself. I like to be able to finally start tattooing, whether it's practicing on thick skin or eventually moving on to real skin, where we tattoo ourselves.
So there's something called blood lining. So we just literally use needle and just water, and then we just tattoo ourselves. So I actually have a scar of it here. Mine, hers healed very quickly. Within the first week. Mine's a few months. It's still here. My friend actually asked me, is that a scarification? Do you scar yourself? Then I'm no. It's I use the needle without ink in it.
Just so that we will understand how it feels and how deep we should go with the needle before we touch someone else's skin. Yeah.